Dice Company contains fantasy violence, mature themes, and unapologetic bickering. No feelings were hurt in the making of it, but listener discretion is advised. Dice Company will always be free, but it's not free to make. Please consider supporting us on Patreon or Apple Podcasts and get access to our weekly roundtable show Extra Roll. Just follow any of the links in the show notes for this chapter.
The rest of the crew of the Sterling are asleep. You are not. You are free to explore now. They're probably too exhausted to wake, but you're careful not to make too much noise. It's a few hours since Vander's revelation about Wolf Eriksson. What a useful distraction he provided. First things first, to the poop deck. The wind whistles through the night air, further masking your footsteps. The steering wheel needs turning. You've already passed over Norskin now, so just a gentle turn of the wheel changes the direction from south to eastward. Back below deck, you think. You wouldn't want to wake Vander. All the way to the bottom floor. There you find the automatons. They don't suspect anything. Why would they? They're simply machines following a series of protocols. Careful not to be too aggressive, you request they open their faceplates. They require a password. It's not too difficult to look into their minds and find the answer. It's the same word that's used to open the workshop. How deliciously efficient. You remove the crystals in the centre of their heads, and they deactivate. One at a time, you drag them into the workshop and close the door. It's unlikely anyone else is going to get in there. You should be safe. You take a moment to study the engine of the airship. Inside, the air elemental swirls in an endless tornado of power creation. You study the capacitor. Seems simple enough. That's when you hear it. The moaning and muttering of the rescued prisoner from the fingers. His beard and long hair is matted and hangs over his red robes. He sits curled on the floor in a small storage room next to the workshop. You lean in close, and he barely registers you. You could snap his neck, of course. Humans are so brittle. But no. Too suspicious, especially after the tiefling's death. Still, at least that problem has been discarded. That's really everything you need to worry about for now. You've sent the ship in the right direction, towards him. You must be very happy. Anything you'd like to say?
I find that all to be acceptable.
Welcome one and all to Dice Company Small Embers Chapter 48, where a group of old friends weave tales of triumph, heroism and despair under the guise of playing Dungeons and Dragons. My name is Tom and I'll be your DM through the continuing adventures of the Prime Material Order of the Heron. Prime Material Order of the Heron, please introduce yourself and tell us one fun fact about your characters.
Hi, my name's Charlie and I play Vander Finnick. Despite what everyone might think, Vander likes sunshine. Nothing he likes more than finding a spot to bask in the sun's rays. But perhaps, less surprisingly, Vander's favourite weather is a storm, and he doesn't even mind standing out in them. We all stand in storms at times, and when we find it doesn't blow us away, we adjust our sails. And this is thinking Vander can very much get behind.
Almost poetic, I would say.
Disturbingly so. Nothing to do with a quote by Elizabeth Edwards.
Oh, God.
Because I'm entirely original.
Gone from stealing from the party to stealing from famous poets?
Stealing is a slippery slope. It's a gateway, which Vander has passed through.
Fantastic.
I'm Beth from the podcast Roll for Imagination, and I'm playing Bella, the tragic and impulsive warlock. And a fun fact about Bella is that when she very first started using her magic and begun her training with Drusilla, she just assumed that she'd always been magic and something had been awakened in her. And Drusilla let her believe this until the day came when their patron reached out to give them their first joint task to accomplish. Safe to say it was a shock to the system, and she's been battling this love-hate relationship ever since.
Ooh, lots of layers, like an onion.
Yep, exactly. That's Bella, like an onion.
Is that the first time we've got the name, Drusilla?
I thought I did say it last time.
Oh, I must have missed it. Okay, good name though.
I think I said it directly to you.
Yep. Mind like a steel trap.
I think I carved it onto a piece of wood and smashed you in the face with it. It's weird you don't remember it.
Yeah. That is the last thing I'll be missing. Everything else is going in.
Hi, I'm Alex, and I'm playing Augustus. And Augustus has been wondering, which usually gets me in trouble, Augustus has been wondering, why does Salazar want us so badly? So first of all, the obvious answer is that he wants Augustus, because he wants a king to kneel to an emperor. But maybe he wants Vander, the escaped Rojan. But maybe on an even higher level, he wants Tock, because Tock has obsidian matrix. But then perhaps it's Bennie. Now, Bennie is supposed to be some sort of special breed of Rojan, so maybe that's the highest level that we have in the Order of the Heron. But finally, Augustus has cracked it, because we discovered last week that Salazar is ill. And if you're ill, you need Dr. Sigmund.
Oh, God. Oh.
Flawless.
That's my logic.
I've checked the DM's face for reactions. We may not be onto something here. I'm not sure that's the grand plot twist that we're unveiling.
The greatest doctor ever. When someone was poisoned, he was the only one who thought to open a window.
As far as we're aware, that's all of his medical training as well. He's never needed another solution to a medical problem.
Correct.
I have no words.
Hi, my name's Izzy and I'm playing Aurora Zeno. A fun fact for Aurora is when they were younger, Augustus and Aurora would sneak drinks out of the kitchen and Aurora would always drink Augustus under the table.
I loved that fact.
She's mean to me.
Good, best fact ever. Thanks, Izzy. You nailed it.
I feel like there's some valid points there that I need to take on board.
Don't forget to check out our Discord, our merchandise on dicecompanypodcast.com, and our Patreon for early releases and ad-free listening. Check out the show notes for links for them all. A big thanks to Beth from the Roll for Imagination podcast for continuing with us. We are truly blessed. Don't forget to check out her podcast and enjoy the Myths of Favalonia and plenty of other goodies. Give them a 5-star rating. Give us a 5-star rating. Give everyone a 5-star rating. Come on now. And please remember, standing in public in other people's clothes is a strange way for a grown adult to make a living. But that's all acting is, pretending to be someone you're not. So, let's turn the page on the next chapter of Dice Company. Previously on Dice Company. With a day's travel under your belt, you are further away from the Fingers and everything that happened there. Having finally learnt more about one another, especially in the absence of Bennie and Tock, you were shocked to find Evelyn Caxton killed by Otis for trying to sabotage the ship. Aurora cast a spell which reanimated the corpse and allowed you to ask some questions, discovering that the twin of the High Inquisitor Joseph's Darkblade is in the possession of Warden Wolf Eriksson of Lumatorn. This led to the revelation from Vander that Wolf Eriksson is in fact a vampire. Reeling from everything that's happened, and some of you still exhausted, you took to bed for some much needed sleep. Before we begin, Augustus, please give me a perception check. Vander, give me an arcana check. Bella, give me an insight check. And Aurora, give me a religion check.
What is happening? I feel deep mistrust.
That's a 7 for Aurora.
That's 11 for Augustus on perception.
22 for Arcana.
That's a 10 for insight.
Thank you very much.
Oh no, it's the thing where we roll and then nothing happens and we're left to just wonder what happened.
Vander, while you're laying in your cabin late at night, thinking about what has happened in the previous day, you get a sudden sense of pure, unadulterated magic. Like the weave itself is singing to you in waves. There is something on the ship that is currently emitting a huge amount of magical power.
Vander sits bolt upright in bed and looks about him before realizing that it's not his eyes or his ears that the sense is coming from, but magic itself. Can he sense the direction of the magic, or only that it's somewhere on the ship?
It's coming from below decks, from the bottom deck.
Vander rises, fully clothed, because being a torturer is a 24-hour job, and grabs his cane and begins shuffling in the direction of the cabin door, taking care not to make too much noise as he goes.
Give me a stealth check, first off, if you're trying not to make noise.
9.
Despite your best efforts, the door makes a very, very loud creak as you open it. Looking back, you notice that Kalen has not woken up. He still rests in your room. Stood before you, however, is Otis.
Good evening, Vander.
Ah, Otis, Vander says, with a measure of surprise.
A strange question, but I sense a disturbance on the ship. Something below decks, perhaps. Do you know anything of it?
No, Vander. Everything on the poop deck is fine.
And all are abed, I assume?
Yes.
I see,
says Vander, casting about himself. He picks a lantern off the wall by the captain's cabin.
Follow me, Otis. Something is afoot.
But, Vander, it is my job to guide the ship.
Vander turns and looks at the wastes that lie in every direction.
I think she can steer herself for the time being, unless there are some immediate navigational matters to take care of.
He pauses for a moment.
No, Vander. I shall follow you.
Then we shall off.
And Vander makes his way down into the bowels of the Sterling.
Bella, you are currently asleep in Bennie's very comfortable quarters, making yourself wonderfully at home. You are dreaming of a beautiful beach with waves crashing against it, lovely sun in the sky. It's all very peaceful and calming. And then you feel something on your arms, and as you look down, you see your arms are being engulfed by snakes. Hundreds and hundreds of snakes are suddenly writhing out of the beach and crawling up your arms towards your face.
Am I aware that I'm in a dream?
No, this feels very real.
Okay. In absolute panic, she stands up and jumps back and tries to brush them off her arms whilst, shaking her arms and turning in circles and just doing all the panicky things you do when you're faced with your greatest fear.
As these snakes begin to cover your eyes, you suddenly feel a hand reach out and grab yours and pull you away from the snakes. Stood before you is Drusilla. She is smiling kindly.
How did you find me?
I always know where you are. I'm always watching you. And I'm so glad that you're free of your chains.
Free of the chains from you? Or free of the chains from the fingers?
Oh, from the prison made by the common folk. But that's okay. I'll be coming to see you very, very soon. And you wake up in a cold sweat.
Oof. In her room, how dark is it?
Very dark at the moment. All the lights are out.
Is there any lanterns that she can light? Just any way of making it not so dark?
Yeah, absolutely. There's some candles on the bedside table.
Okay, she's going to use prestidigitation just to light those candles.
So the room is flooded with light and warmth.
She's just going to sit in bed, not going back to sleep now, just kind of watching all the corners and being on guard.
Holding your lantern with Otis following you, you head below decks. You notice underneath the door to Bennie's room there is a flickering light, while the door to Augustus's quarters is ajar. From inside you can hear his deep snoring.
So I'm still following my sense of the magic, and if I can rely on my original check, do I get a sense of the type of magic or the feeling maybe that it gives me?
This is wild magic. This is unadulterated magic. You have wherever this is coming from, the person using it doesn't really have control. This is like it's bursting out.
So not good or bad, just completely wild.
Utterly wild and chaotic.
And can I sense its direction?
It is the deck below you. So it's the deck that houses Tock's workshop and the engine with the air elemental.
Since I'm on this level, Vander creeps along the corridor and briefly looks in to check that Augustus is sleeping peacefully.
He's fine. He's snoring. He's 1 foot off the bed. Other than that, it's all normal.
Your friend Augustus is obviously exhausted, and as he said, 1 foot off the bed, mouth wide open, drool all over his pillow. He is the epitome of utter exhaustion.
He's not really 1 foot off the bed, right? He's just sleeping in bed.
He's sleeping with one leg out of the bed.
Sorry, I meant floating 1 foot off the bed.
Sorry. No, he's not levitating. You do notice, however, that Aurora is missing.
I see. Vander casts about the room. Looking at Augustus, though, Vander can see the exhaustion.
Bellerophon.
And Bellerophon creeps from Vander's robes.
Watch over Augustus and only wake him. If I summon you, he's exhausted and needs his rest.
Dom, just a very quick one. But when they went to bed, Augustus was on the floor and Aurora was in the bed.
Nope, I got it right.
Okay.
Bellerophon scuttles across the floor and nestles up to Augustus in bed. Vander pulls the door to and approaches the light emanating under Bella's door. A quiet knock sounds.
Hello?
Are you awake, Bella?
Well, if I wasn't, I am now.
Excellent!
And the door swings open as Vander strides into the room as if invited.
My apologies for disturbing you at this late hour, but something is amiss on the ship, and I need hands to find out what exactly is out of place.
Without moving from her spot on the bed, she's going to say, what kind of something is amiss?
Something otherworldly, Bella,
Vander says, leaning towards her.
I don't know the origin of this thing, but my senses tell me we are in the presence of wild magic.
Wild magic? Okay, then.
Vander, at this point, has discerned that something is out of place with Bella. He looks closer.
Are you quite all right, Bella? You seem perturbed.
She kind of stiffens up and gets off the bed, gets her cloak, puts it around her and just says, I'm fine.
I see, says Vander, his eye betraying that he doesn't believe what he's just heard.
My senses tell me that the disturbance is on the lower decks. Be prepared for anything, Bella. We should go now.
Don't worry, I am.
And Vander begins shuffling towards the stairs to the lower decks.
Bella will follow.
Vander, Bella, and Otis head to the bottom deck of the Sterling. As you head down the rickety old stairs that lead you down there, you can see Tock's workshop dead ahead, and to the left is an empty store cupboard with no door, and curled up on the floor in there is Stephen Sikora. He is rocking back and forth in the fetal position and muttering.
I indicate with a nod of my head to Bella that this is the source of the wild magic.
Easy now,
says Vander as he edges towards Stephen Sikora.
I want to say telepathically to Vander, who is he?
Vander surprisingly responds in Bella's head.
Another prisoner from the Fingers.
And what did he do? Why was he there?
His story is yet untold, though I suspect we are about to find out quite why he was in the maximum security section, in which magic was forbidden.
Interesting.
Vander continues to edge, now standing in front of Stephen Sikora. Can I do an observation check? I'm looking for any other signs that might tell us what's happening here.
Give me a perception check.
20.
This is the first time you've properly looked at Stephen Sikora since the rescue. His skin is heavily scarred, but not in the fashion of the Rojan turned into Shadow Vanguard. His hair is unkempt and long, as is his beard, black with flecks of grey in it. And he's muttering very fast. I've seen many things. The fall and the rise and the eradication. These moments, they're out of order. I cannot clear my head of the pain. Betrayers round every corner. Liars, full of deceit, weaving new existences from the established lives. You know it. She knows it. You know his name. Behind it all, at the centre of the world, is him. For he has many names. The uncrowned king, master of the shadow throne, the undying, the hushed one. And in his own kingdom he waits. She is on her way. But they are already here.
Vander's eye turns back in the direction of Bella.
Notice the scarring,
He says in hushed tones.
You notice that Bella has gone white as a sheet.
Vander's magical eye has also turned in the direction of Bella now.
She just nods at your question or your statement about the scarring.
Staring between the two, Vander casts mage armor. I'm not getting murdered on my own ship.
I love how nervous you are right now.
A number of things happen at the same time. Stephen Sikora reaches out and grabs you, Vander, round the arms, and he brings his face in close. He says, "You must take me home. Please, take me home, please. To the port at the end of the world. Take me. You must take me home, please. Please take me home." While in your head, you get a sudden flash from Bellerophon, which then goes black as he is killed.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
With what little force he can, Vander tries to thrust Stephen Sikora back into the cupboard to try and remove his grip.
Despite your frail body, you're able to fight Stephen Sikora off. He does not pose much of a physical threat to you, and you push him back.
As Vander pushes Sikora back, his head snaps in the direction of Otis.
Otis! Augustus! To his room, now!
Yes, Vander.
And Otis rushes off up the stairs as Stephen Sikora gets to his feet and tries to grab you again.
As he goes to do so, he finds himself face to muzzle with Vander's flintlock.
"You must take me home, please. To the end of the world, please."
Calm down, Stephen, or the home you will be taken to will have to belong in the next life.
And he lets go very gently, and you see tears beginning to roll down his cheek as he falls to his knees. "Please, please. I just want to go home. Please."
Seeing that Stephen has now backed off to a degree, Vander takes a calm step back, lowering the flintlock a little.
Where is this home you speak of, Stephen?
"I am from Bad's Kingdom, miles away. I explored. I used to adventure and archive everything I found. I was powerful once. Once I had all the power, but now it's all gone. There's nothing left. Help me, please."
Forgive me, Stephen, but I fear that what you have unleashed on my ship may be momentarily about to kill one of my crewmates. So allow me to get right to the point. I sense wild magic and danger. What do you know of it?
Roll a D100 for me, please.
Oh, fuck. 82.
With a... he disappears.
Almost instantaneously, as if few people on the planet could possibly react this fast, Vander turns back to Bella.
I sensed Bellerophon's life snuffed out in the floors above. We must run to Augustus now. He may be in grave danger.
Okay, let's go.
Vander tries to hobble after Bella, but his progress is naturally very slow.
Bella's not in a rush. She's not rushing ahead. She's staying right by you. She's scared.
Vander looks somewhat perturbed at that, but shambles in the direction of Augustus's berth.
As you head up there, you find that stood outside the door is Kalen, leaning heavily on a staff. "What's going on?"
Wild magic, Kalen. Stephen Sikora. He appears to have been the origin of this anomaly. He has, well, disappeared, but I sensed that maybe Augustus was in trouble. Have you checked on Augustus?
"Of course." And he bangs the door open. And inside, laying on the bed with one foot on the floor, is Augustus, and on the floor next to him is Aurora.
Vander surveys the room as if needing to check for himself.
I see,
says Vander, not seeing at all.
Right. Those awake, please follow me to the galley. We have a mystery,
says Vander, finally.
The bang has woken both Aurora and Augustus from their slumber.
Ugh. What's going on?
Back with us, I see, Aurora. in more senses than one.
Vander, what do you mean?
Yes, what do I mean? And welcome to the world of the wakened Augustus.
What is happening, Vander? I need to sleep.
I do understand your exhaustion, Augustus, but I'm afraid wild magic has been used on the ship this night. Stephen Sakura, you may remember, a prisoner of the Fingers, appears to have been its origin. But now he has disappeared after mentioning the Hushed One. Something is wrong, and we must find out what, or I sense we are all in danger.
Very well, Vander. I shall get up. Please pass me my clothes.
Aurora rolls her eyes, gets up, and slings Augustus's clothes at his face.
Vander makes his way to the galley.
Augustus, please roll me a D100.
23.
I feel safe.
Safe old 23.
Together, you all enter the galley.
Vander now strides up and down in front of the firelight. As if by magic, he has removed his usual Admiral's tricorn hat and has replaced it with something akin to a deerstalker.
Are you mixing your detectives here?
You are about to find quite the grotesque mix of things, yes.
Please continue, Miss Marple.
Lighting a cheroot, Vander regards the group.
So, shipmates, it appears we have a mystery. Strange goings-on the ship, the mutterings of a madman, and soon, no doubt, a body. The only thing standing between us and that event, of course, is time.
And Vander looks round, a mix of intrigue and clear excitement on his face.
Aurora leans to Augustus and asks, "Where did your friend get his hat from?"
My dear Vander has many hats, both physical and metaphorical.
Oh.
Vander's head snaps in the direction of Aurora.
Ah, the guilty so often speak first. Aurora, he says, shambling towards her. I had the good fortune of looking in on you tonight, but found you not asleep at all, but missing. Yet, no less than 5 minutes later, I return, and there, once again, you are, waking as if not aware that a thing was amiss. What say you to that?
Vander, we all enjoy your games, but this is ridiculous. Tell us what you've really dragged us out of bed for.
Augustus, you are the one person I don't suspect because you are quite clearly near to collapse. Please join me in my investigations or kindly get out of the way, for a mystery must be solved.
Augustus plants himself between Vander and Aurora.
Not as intimidating as it once was, Augustus. I am merely seeking the truth.
It's fine, dear brother. I'm not scared of the man in the silly hat. I got up to get a drink.
A drink? I see. How very convenient.
Nevertheless, Vander seems somewhat sated as he continues his pacing. He turns again, this time the cane shooting out in the direction of Bella.
Bella! I couldn't help but notice that when we were listening to the ravings of Stephen Sakura, your expression was one of some acknowledgement, fear perhaps. What was it that struck you about his appearance?
I mean, of course I would be afraid. The man was crazy, muttering all sorts of course, it would be unnerving.
And that's all it was?
Says Vander, leaning closer.
Yes, says Bella, leaning closer also.
Breaking contact, Vander then snaps in the direction of Kaelin.
Kaelin, I find it most peculiar that you were stood right outside the scene of the murder, by which I refer to the death of Bellerophon. Why were you there, and what summoned you to that scene of the crime, if I may put it so crudely?
You may remember when you left the room, you made a huge amount of noise. It woke me up, so I followed you down, and I reached here, and I saw an open door, so I thought I'd look in.
Blithely stepping past that very reasonable explanation, Vander strides again across the room.
It is my solemn duty as the captain of this ship to now turn my craft to being a detective. It will trouble the guilty party to know that I have read many detective novels, and this little caper strikes me as one calling for the subtle arts of Hakon Pryrot. who I will now use as my guide to unravel this mystery.
He turns back on the group.
Otis, I still trust your judgment. Did you observe anything untoward this evening?
You turn around to talk to Otis, and he is not there.
That does stop Vander in his tracks.
Did anyone see Otis leave?
I haven't seen Otis all evening.
I see,
says Vander, casting about himself. This is not how detective stories go in Vander's mind.
Well, plenty of clues, but so far nothing but dead ends. A good detective, though, knows when to ask more questions. So, what do you all say is going on?
He says, desperately trying not to relinquish the high ground.
I don't know, but do you think that Stephen may still be on the ship? How big is this thing?
That's a very reasonable point. When you say he disappeared, what are we talking? Is this a misty step or a dimension door?
If I had to guess, I would say it was a misty step, and given our height, I would doubt he could have gone anywhere else than some other location on the Sterling.
So perhaps you're asking your questions to the wrong people. If we can find him, maybe we can get more information.
Exactly, says Aurora.
I see. Well, what none of you have considered,
says Vander, his hand stretching directly upwards in a eureka gesture,
is that there remains a locked door on this ship. Tock's tool room. Perhaps the mystery resides in there. In fact, I sense that it does.
And Vander begins shambling in the direction of the door, convinced he's hot on the trail of the mystery.
Aurora wanders over to one of the bottles of creme de menthe and pours herself a glass.
Augustus kind of goes with her and says, "Is everything all right, sister?"
Yeah, it's fine. I'm just having a bit of trouble sleeping.
Given that Augustus knows, obviously, Aurora really well, is there anything he can do to discern whether... he's suspicious about her behaviour kind of generally since they've been reunited. Is there anything that he can tell that would suggest there's something else going on with her?
Give me an insight check. At advantage, because you're siblings.
17.
Your memories of Aurora is that she's always been quite headstrong and not prone to talking about her personal feelings. Her behaviour, while perhaps a little suspect, it's not enough to really raise alarm bells with you.
Fair enough. Well, Augustus sort of sticks with her, ready to deter the detective when he comes back.
Bella, would you like to stay in the galley, or would you like to follow Vander down to Tock's workshop?
I think she'll follow Vander. She is also curious about what's going on.
Vander and Bella only go down to Tock's workshop, while Augustus and Aurora stay in the galley, and Kalen disappears up towards the poop deck. Vander and Bella, you reach the door to Tock's workshop.
Vander's now realised that Bella is following him and turns to her.
Your interest does you credit, Bella. Only the innocent would try to solve a mystery such as this.
I'm just curious about where he's gone. I think the answers lie with what he was saying. It must have been important.
I agree. We must remember, though, to suspect everyone at all times if we are to solve this conundrum. But the next mystery lies here,
says Vander, pointing at the lock of Tock's room.
Have you been in there before?
I have. A place of many strange artifacts that only Tock knows the use of. I am aware, though, that this room is locked by some charm or incantation. Some phrase, a line, a limerick, something that Tock would say will unlock the door.
I'm afraid I can't be much help here. I didn't get much chance to talk to them, in the all escaping and sharks and everything.
Of course, says Vander. To solve this riddle, we must place ourselves in the mind of Tock. Now, what would Tock say?
And Vander begins throwing out phrases that he knows Tock would say.
Tick,
he says hopefully.
Nothing.
Jarima would.
Also nothing.
But Vander.
No.
Squirrel.
No.
He turns back to Bella.
That has relevance.
And then turns back to the door.
She just nods.
Vander's starting to sweat now. Nothing perturbs Vander like his own intelligence being questioned in this way by riddles. He sighs.
Tock is a sweetheart.
No.
What else?
He will be delighted that you can't get into his workshop.
Does it have to be a phrase, or could we not just use magic and break down the door, considering the circumstances?
An interesting proposition. Please be my guest.
And Vander steps to one side.
Okay. I don't know if this is possible and would work. No, it probably won't. Okay, she's going to just do what Bella does best and kind of walk over to the door. And is it like a normal sort of like turn the key lock, or is there no lock visible? It's just an enchantment, or what?
There's no lock visible. It is enchantment only. But it is a wooden door. Mm-hmm. It's reinforced with metal, but it's not. It doesn't look like a magical door. It just doesn't have the standard handle and lock mechanism.
Okay, yeah. In that case, she's going to just rest her hands on the door and try to gently. I don't know if you can gently fire an Eldritch Blast. She's going to try and just somehow cause some kind of damage to the door enough that it will open.
Cool. Roll to hit.
A unnatural 20.
Is a hit. Roll for damage.
That's going to be 11.
Okay, so very gently you place your hands close to the door, and Vander, you hear a loud blast as an Eldritch Blast cracks into the door. There is a small dent and a little bit of fracturing to the wooden part of the door.
Oh, maybe that wasn't a good idea.
Are you okay, Bella?
I'm fine. I'm just a bit concerned about how loud that was.
I don't suppose that we have the benefit of surprise at this stage. It is disappointing that the door did not succumb to your incantation.
Although it looks damaged.
It does.
Could we just hit it now and hope for the best?
Vander looks down at his form.
I may not be the best example of brute force.
Bella does the same and looks at herself and goes, me neither.
Brains does always trump brawn, though,
says Vander, brightening up. And with that, he has an idea.
You have a patron, do you not, Bella?
I do.
I assume, though I know little of your relationship, that this is a entity of some power?
She's gone pretty, withdrawn again, and she's just nods slowly.
Your silence betrays you, Bella. You can trust your friend Vander. Tell me, or when was it that you last spoke with your patron?
I have not spoke with my patron in a long time. That is the truth.
So she could not help us in this situation?
I don't think it would be wise to call upon my patron now, considering the circumstances. And she kind of like grimaces a bit as she says that last line, as if like, oh, why did I say that?
I see,
he says, lapsing back into thought. And then his eye snaps up again.
Patrons! Tock!
And he turns back to the door.
Tock's maker. Tick, follow, Tock, follow, tick, follow, Tock. Back to Avaros,
he says triumphantly.
And nothing happens.
Oh!
He turns back to Bella, exasperated. He turns back to the door.
Overos! The Overos!
There is a click and the door opens. Harry's going to be devastated that you got there.
Vander's, sorry, I'm losing it. Vander's skinny arms shoot in the air, a moment of sheer joy at having solved a riddle. Help me.
Even the toughest mystery will bend in the face of pure intelligence.
Aurora has continued to drink the bottle of creme de menthe to herself during this time. She has offered it to you a few times.
I don't think Augustus is in a drinking mood at the moment. He's more recovering from a million battles.
Something is obviously going on. What do you think they're going to find?
I cannot imagine, sister. Vander's mind is a mystery to me, even now, after so long together.
Where did you find him again?
I met him in a warehouse when I first arrived in Lunadine.
Ha! Sounds about right. He looks like someone who hangs around in dark alleys and warehouses.
Vander has many layers. Not all of them are appealing. But I think there may be some goodness deep down within.
Have you been travelling with him long?
Yes, it seems like a lifetime, but it may only be a few weeks.
When was the last time you spoke to Mother?
Not since the day before I left.
It's strange. I'm looking forward to seeing her. That is not something I ever thought I'd say.
Well, the difficulties of travel may make us yearn for the comforts of home, even if those comforts are not altogether comforting.
Yes, I think you're probably right. I think I'm going to go get some fresh air.
Very well, sister.
Join me on the poop deck?
Yes, I will. I think we must be careful until Vander has identified his culprit or given up on this flight of fancy.
That's okay, I have the great champion of Tyr with me.
Augustus, give me a perception check and roll a d100, please.
Incredible. That is a natural 1 for 2 on perception and 6 on the D100.
Augustus and Aurora head to the poop deck.
I found the door to get out, did I, despite my perception?
You did. Vander and Bella, you have opened the door to the workshop, and inside, curled in the fetal position, is Stephen Sikora. More surprisingly, he is slumped against the deactivated forms of Tick, Automaton 1, Automaton 2, and Otis.
Vander was mid-exultation when he sees the scene in front of him. The flintlock again comes out and Vander strides into the room. His flintlock levels at Stephen Sikora.
Explain.
I can't control the magic. I can't. It bursts out of me. It's too much. I transported myself by accident to here, and I found the automaton. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. I didn't do this.
Can you control it?
No, and it's building again. Roll a d100.
Oh, God. 73. I want to mentally message Bella when I get the chance.
Okay, go for it.
Bella, if we kill him, the magic may be unleashed. The only sensible course of action is to throw him from the ship.
This is also telepathically again. Maybe we could just knock him out for now and then decide?
An excellent suggestion. I will distract him.
Bella, can you roll me a d100, please?
78.
You see Stephen Sikora's body begin to glow white as the energy builds up around him, and with a pop, he changes into a chinchilla.
Oh, okay.
And this is the most adorable chinchilla you've ever seen. It's got big eyes, incredibly fluffy to the point that it looks like it can't even move, and it just kind of rolls there looking at you.
Bella says out loud, well, that made that a lot easier.
Another mental message to Bella.
Don't be fooled, Bella, by its large eyes. Inside that small, adorable chinchilla lies an enormity of demonic magic.
Okay, back to telepathic. She'll say, okay, let's put it somewhere safe then.
Over the side?
No, I think there might be information we need to get out of him later. Just somewhere that a chinchilla could not escape from for now. Anywhere on the ship like that?
I have no holdings for chinchillas.
Okay, holdings for valuables that are quite large that we could drill holes in.
While you're talking, the chinchilla walks up and just begins rubbing itself against your leg and purring.
Good Lord,
says Vander out loud.
Any ideas?
Vander painfully gets to one knee and tries to coax the chinchilla onto his arm.
Come now, sweet chinchilla.
Bella, give me a perception check. And the chinchilla very, very tentatively moves towards your arm and then begins to crawl up.
That's a 6.
Within Tock's workshop, you see a very thick metal box. There are no air holes in it. There are no windows. It's literally just like a small metal coffin.
Meanwhile, Vander's opened the window.
Is the box big enough?
The chinchilla would fit in the box, yeah.
I'm going to hold the box up and say, I found this. Do you have any method of drilling a hole?
I would prefer this holding cell.
Vander says, pointing at the misty air outside of the window.
Vander, I really don't think that's a good idea right now. If you want to solve this mystery, which I know you do, then do not throw the chinchilla out of the window.
Utter conflict crosses Vander's half face.
Perhaps we can entertain this chiller for some period longer. I suggest the box then, and we can worry about the holes when we've achieved step 1 of your plan.
Well, see, if we don't worry about them now, I fear that he may die.
If we do worry about them now, I fear that we may die.
I'm conflicted.
Aren't we all?
Augustus, you have followed Aurora up onto the poop deck. You are not alone up there. Kalen is up on the poop deck, stood at the front of the Sterling, looking out into the night sky.
Oh good, more terrifying suspicious magic users.
He hears you and turns around as you approach.
Ah, Augustus. I haven't spoken to you since you rescued me. I owe you a thank you.
Well, the least we could do, Kalen. After all, you saved us all those weeks ago back in Haven.
I must admit, I didn't do it just for you. But still, a good deed.
Why did you do it, Kalen?
Have you ever been in love, Augustus?
Augustus casts around for a mirror and then says, "No, Kalen."
You are fortunate. Love is all-consuming. It makes you do stupid things.
And it made you stay behind and face Morven and his soldiers. Love of whom, or of what?
Of Valeria. My sweet Valeria. She's at Sanctuary, which is where we are going, correct?
She was there when we left. I assume she is there still.
And where is Sanctuary?
I do not know exactly. Vander and his crew control this ship. Somewhere to the south.
Well, if Sanctuary is to the south, why are we heading east?
Augustus looks around like someone who's just realised he's got on the wrong train. Can he discern if we're heading east? Are we heading east?
I mean, you've never been much of a navigator, and at night, even worse so. So you can't really tell.
How do you know we're heading east, Kalen?
I always know which way is north. Years of training.
Is there an automaton at the helm at the moment?
No, you haven't seen an automaton, actually, so far this evening.
Thank you, Kalen. I think I should go and find one of the automatons and see if perhaps the ship has gone off course.
Very well. Do you have any maps?
I do not.
Very well.
And Augustus hurries off in search of anyone who knows what the hell they're doing with an airship.
Aurora's going to stay, gripping the bottle of creme de menthe, then walking around the poop deck.
Troubling.
Vander and Bella. And the chinchilla.
There's no time, Bella,
Yells Vander.
hurl the box in the air.
She does.
As she does, Vander yells, "Pull!" And like a gunslinger, Vander's flintlock appears and he fires at the box. The intention is the shrapnel going through the box will create some small air holes.
Vander's holding this box, right?
Threw it in the air, right?
Oh, throw! I think it in the air.
Please roll to hit.
I'm sorry, I've accidentally Mark Twained you. Oh, God. You don't blow Bella's hands off. It's going to be appalling. Okay.
Please hold this while I shoot it with my gun.
What I thought you were saying. I just did it.
Oh, no. Can I have it at advantage for range?
Yes. 14 is the goal number.
I'm going to use lucky. I rolled a 13. That's probably a little finger.
Oh.
Please now roll not at advantage, because you can only re-roll one dice.
I'll have the 13.
Because of the miscommunication, Bella holds the box in the air and Vander pulls the trigger of the flintlock, which goes off with a straight into Bella's right hand. Bella, you feel the hot, searing pain as the shrapnel hits you in the hand, but it is less than a second. Vander, you notice that Bella's hand has a strange membrane suddenly appear around it. You take no damage.
This is going to sound callous. How did the box get on?
The box is fine. There are no holes in it.
After all that.
Vander lowers the flintlock, quite shaken at how that turned out.
Bella, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
He shambles towards you.
Your hand.
He moves to examine it.
She's holding it out in front of herself to look at, but she's not offering it up. That hasn't happened before.
Vander looks up.
Is this you?
And there is a bright flash of light as a slender, tall woman with black hair in a bun, wearing a long, flowing, and very ornate-looking dress, suddenly appears next to you. Now, Vander, in your ear, you hear a voice you don't recognise. Don't you hurt my ward. And as she appears, Augustus bursts in through the open door.
Vander, my keen nautical sense tells us that we are heading east, not south.
Quite possible, Augustus, but there are other problems.
Vander says, unloading and recocking the flintlock.
Bella's just staring at her.
Please have one of the automatons rush to the helm, and I shall direct him which way to turn it.
No, if Otis is even alive. But look,
Vander says,
we have guests.
Good evening, madam. Do you know anything about ships?
I'm sorry, I don't know anything about ships. Pleasure to meet you, though.
You too, madam. Excuse me, I must return to the poop deck and arrange the ship in a southerly direction. Do you know which way is south?
With a twist of her hand, Augustus disappears.
Oh, no!
oh my God!
At that, Bella snaps out of it and steps forwards towards her. Drusilla, why are you here?
She reaches forward, moves some of your hair around your ear. I can't let any harm come to you. That's not the deal.
Your deal with me, or their deal with you?
His deal with both of us.
See, the thing is, now I think about it, I don't remember ever making a deal, Drusilla.
Making deals, breaking deals. We do what we can with the opportunities afforded us. But this one, she raises a gnarled finger towards Vander. He is reckless. I cannot stand having reckless people being close to you.
I mean, it hasn't stopped you before. He and you have put us both in danger many times. Why is now different? Is it because now I'm finally away from you, doing this myself?
You know how to hurt me. Cut me to my bone.
Don't play games, Drusilla.
The games is all we have. But I understand. You've made new friends. Shiny friends. You're off on a great big adventure. Is that right?
Something like that, I guess. And let me guess. You're here to bring me back?
It is simply my job to keep you safe. I understand what it's like to be a young woman, trying to make your way in the world, showing your independence. I understand you want to go off on a great big adventure with your shiny new friends. Well, I'm not going to stand in the way of that. This is a teachable lesson.
Bella tilts her head slightly to the side and looks at Drusilla with a very disbelieving look. You're not going to take me back?
No, not this time. I think this time it's important that you come back of your own volition. It has to be your choice this time, my dearest. That being said, I am absolutely going to give you just a little nudge. See if I can't just speed the decision along. So with that in mind... And she claps her hands as a ripple of energy blasts out. You hear distant whooshing sounds before everything falls back to silence. Good luck, Bella.
What have you done?
And she vanishes.
Bella's going to turn to Vander. I don't know what she's done. I don't know.
Vander looks around at the ship as if trying to perceive if there's any change that he can detect.
Give me a perception check. And you can have it at advantage if Bella's going to help.
Yes, I will.
21.
With the window opened, You've noticed that the weather outside has completely changed. There is a slightly different hue to the sky outside, and it is now pouring with rain.
Vander leans out of the window and briefly into the storm. He leans back.
Most powerful indeed, Bella. If I were to guess, I would say that we are not where we were before your patron conjured whatever manifestation she just enacted.
Vander, I feel I must tell you some more truth now that this has become personal. She's not my patron. My magic comes from someone else. They also give her her magic. Her job is only to train me in the ways of our patron. Our patron is somebody far more powerful and much worse.
Much worse?
Much worse.
Is the name of your patron known to many?
Yes. It is known to yourself, and you've heard it today.
Vander stows the flintlock.
If my guess is correct,
He says, removing his detective's hat and placing it in a pocket.
then one would presume you refer now to the Hushed One.
Bella nods, a single nod, and casts her gaze to the floor. Then she looks back up and says, "But I do not align with the Hushed One. That's why I'm here. That's why I escaped Drusilla."
That, Bella, might also be why you were in the Fingers. You may not align with the Hushed One, but Lady Omicron does. She spoke of rituals and the need for a particular person. I now believe that to be you.
What sorts of rituals? What do you mean? Rituals for what?
We heard precious little of the conversation, but certainly the Hushed One was due to deliver power unto the group that we heard, of which Lady Omicron was one of the leaders.
It's very interesting. But it doesn't change my position. I would give anything to be free. Free of the magic, free of the ties, but I know that that's not a choice. Or at least I thought it wasn't a choice. I mean, I don't believe for a second that Drusilla's actually going to give me freedom here. I think she's going to make it so that I have to make the choice she wants, and she'll call it my choice.
A difficult situation, says Vander. We all have choices, though, Bella. Though some may be extremely painful. Take this chinchilla here. Presumably it's mulling over whether to stay an adorable, cuddly creature or to morph into our certain death, and yet it appears to be making the kinder choice.
You're right, but the chinchilla doesn't have an all-powerful being in its head controlling its powers and deciding where it can and can't go and what it can and can't do.
I wouldn't put it past the chinchilla, but I do accept your situation is rather more complex. I guess the question is this then, Bella. What will you do?
Well, I think that depends greatly on where we are. Number one, whatever Drusilla has just done can't be good. So maybe we can figure that out first. And also, we need to figure out what we're going to do with the chinchilla.
Vander turns to the chinchilla at this point. Has its behaviour changed as we've calmed down?
Roll a D100, let's find out.
Oh my god. Why would I ask? 35.
Please roll a D10.
Not good. 1.
As you're looking at the adorable chinchilla, you notice that some of clumps of its hair are starting to fall out as it visibly ages in front of you by 1 year.
How long do chinchillas live?
Not long, it would appear.
1 year.
And forgive me for returning to the practical, but we do not have either a conscious Otis or indeed the whereabouts of Augustus.
Augustus, you have appeared in a flash atop the poop deck. The weather suddenly changes from dark, misty and windy to torrential rain.
And Augustus goes like, "Huh!" and like pats himself down as if he's under attack, and that kind of feels to make sure all of his sort of body parts are still remaining, and then kind of runs in a couple of circles in a kind of hysterical way.
Can you roll a d20 for me, please?
Of course. That would be a 1.
Having run around for a moment, you stop and look to the front of the Sterling. There, stood in the pouring rain, is Aurora, rapier in one hand, empty bottle in the other. At her feet is the body of Kalen, his throat opened.
Fuck.
Aurora steps onto the railing at the side and grips your pendant, the one you got as a gift from Tock. Uh-oh! Looks like we're back in Roanoke. Well, this is where I say goodbye, dear brother. I need to get myself back to Cantioch. I can't cause trouble if I'm back in Roanoke, can I? Don't worry, though. I'll make sure to say hello to Mother from you. Or as you. Who knows? What fun! And her face suddenly begins to change. First to Otis, then to Kalen, onto yours before finally settling onto a blank, white, featureless one.
Oh, one more thing. What can fly but has no wings?
And she claps her hands.
As she does so, the familiar hum of the Sterling's capacitor goes silent.
Tat for toodles.
And she places the pendant in her mouth and jumps backwards off the Sterling.
Vander! Automaton, save the ship! And then he runs forward to Kalen to attempt to lay on hands. I don't know if Kalen's completely stone dead at this point, but he's going to try and save Kalen.
Your hands begin to glow on Kalen's body as you desperately try and lay hands on him. But it is too late. He is dead. You begin to hear the whistling as the Sterling tips forward.
So Augustus, realising he can't do anything for Kalen, rushes along the deck, heading down in the hope of assisting with with what's going wrong below decks.
Vander and Bella, as you're discussing what's just happened, you too hear the capacitor of the Sterling stop.
The chinchilla problem is yours.
And with that, Vander casts Misty Step. I'm appearing as high up in the ship as I can towards the poop deck and the helm.
With a bamf, Vander appears in the pouring rain on the poop deck by the steering wheel.
Vander grabs the helm, ramming his cane into the notch that holds it straight, and twists it with the intention of trying to guide the ship in a descending arc that's controlled.
I've had some strange nights in my life, but 5 hells!
As he turns the ship violently into a descent, hoping that he might be able to crash land.
Vander, give me a dexterity saving throw, please.
Sweet Jesus! I actually can't take any more. I'll take 17.
You begin to kind of move the steering wheel, desperately trying to catch the air so that you don't plummet nose first into the ground. You're able to just about level it off. You're definitely going to crash, but there's a chance that you might be able to save the Sterling, and more importantly, your lives, if you keep at the position that you're in. Bella, you are downstairs with a chinchilla, a box, no Vander, and a ship that is crashing.
Okay, so your job is to make a functional airship engine from a chinchilla.
Yeah, not a chance. If Bella just pick up the chinchilla and start running up.
Running in different directions.
Well, what am I going to do with it? I can't leave it.
I think that's awesome.
It's amazing. Augustus, as you run downstairs, you pass the galley, and as you pass it, you see a bright, golden, glowing light coming from the small Jerima tree wrapped in the pillow.
Okay, Augustus bowls in there to see what he can see.
The Sterling, with the whistling of the wind, is kind of cruising down. Vander, even in the darkness, you can see the ground fast approaching as you desperately try and pull the steering wheel. Give me one last strength saving throw, please.
Oh my god. 18!
Boom! And you're able to almost perfectly level it off as the ship hits the ground with a smash! You can hear the kind of ripping and tearing of wood from the bow of the ship as it skids along, and it slowly comes to a stop with a rock. Bella, you're able to make it up onto the poop deck, holding the chinchilla. No damage has come to you. You have all survived. Augustus, As you are walking towards, you feel the impact and are knocked down to the ground. As you look at the small Jarima tree wrapped in a pillow, there is a sudden pulse of energy, and with a out fall 3 figures, Tock, Bennie, and Bardal Schultz.
What?
And we will end it there.
Oh my god!
Woo!
Good God!
You've been listening to Dice Company's Small Embers, starring Alex Morrison as Augustus Zeno, Charlie Blackadder as Vander Finnick, Beth as Bella Clearvale, with Tom Patrick as your Dungeon Master.
The humans of Dice Company would like to thank the following sweethearts for their support. Marshall 001, Marky B, Darcy Thompson, Jenny the War Camel, Stephen Sakura, Nori Gosler, Mickey Arnold, Happy Daddy Scotty, Tika, S.J. Phionics, Richard Ungamus, Rabbi Camel, Team Vander, Paris Pakar, Path Pursuit, Julia Zeno, Shovels, Mama Strange, Queenie, Liz Beckett, Axel Runholm, and Chris from North London.
Oh my
Almost
God.
out of surprise. I didn't realise I had levels of surprise that could be exhausted. I'm just a wreck.
Series of truly spectacular rolls there, guys.
Good God, did I crash the ship with one of my ones?
Yep. You also killed Caleb with one.
Oh my god.
Aurora was some... I mean, I suspected Aurora wasn't Aurora, but I tried to get closer and kept doing perception and kept rolling. I think I rolled a 1 on every single roll tonight, apart from a 6 on a D100, which is basically a 1. So would my perception earlier have given me a hint that she wasn't Aurora?
So your initial perception was to notice that your pendant was missing.
Right.
And then there were a series of perception checks throughout that could have tipped you off. Like, you also did an insight check, which you rolled good on, but not good enough.
Because she was very sneaky, or she wasn't she at all. Whoever that was, Moonface, was very sneaky.
Mask Weaver.
Mask Weaver.
Oh, and she was also Otis at the very beginning.
Oh man, is Otis dead? If you killed Otis.
Otis has been deactivated.
Okay.
And I realise we might have to find this out in time, in the plot, but does that mean they left a sort of doppelganger just chilling in one of the cells in case of a jailbreak?
The doppelganger is not on the side of the Empire.
Oh, interesting. We just basically it was a prison. We bust out a fucking maniac. That makes sense. A prison, high security wing of a prison. Not everyone's going to be a friend.
That's where you
I get
find
that.
polymorphs.
Yeah.
Thing to remember about Mask Weavers is that they can read thoughts. So she has basically been reading your thoughts.
That means Aurora's in the Citadel.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. Please note that Augustus did not reveal the location of Sanctuary despite being asked.
Very good.
Fucking doppelgangers.
She's off to Cantioch, so to go see Mother.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Your teacher, by the way, Bella, is absolutely terrifying.
I actually think I read excitement on your face there. You thought I was going to some amazing lore place.
I did.
And I went to a silly place instead.
You did.
I'm sorry.
The old rope-a-dope.
I promise I'll do big lore next week.
We'll see. Knowing what your memory's like, that seems unlikely.
Whose memory? Who am I?
Who said that? What?
Is it wrong that I'm kind of missing Harry's non-dancing? Like,
waving his sword.
Yeah, right. He either waves his sword or doesn't dance, and I actually missed that.
Well,
We need Tock back.
Very well, Augustus. I shall get up.
very well, Augustus.
Good grief. Really am tired. I really am a narcissist. I think everyone is me.
That's quite all right, Augustus. You are still clearly in the world of the sleeping.
Let me try that again.
Oh my God, we get to do a Hercule Poirot. A Poirot?
Poirot.
I want to fire, I want to strut up and down, and I want to try and develop a suspect.
One thing, traditionally, Poirot knows what the solution is. Don't want to put pressure on you in this 5 minutes, Charlie.
I've been winging this life for years, Albag. I'm gonna mock Poirot this. Okay, so out of, I am fascinated. So Bella went white as a sheet. So you know something. I'm already Poirot, by the way.
Just in case anyone wants to. Yeah. If anyone wants to be
I'm gonna be
impressed right
shit
now.
Poirot.
I think
I am
Poirot was a good
intrigued.
name.
Colour me intrigued. There's a mystery.
I should be Captain Hastings, shouldn't I, if you're Poirot?
You could do a Hastings.
Good grief, Poirot! You great Scot!
Ring of wood from the bow of the ship as it skids along.
Where
like
I am
spinning. No, you're in the galley. You're not on the bottom deck. Crazy old guy. You could probably kill him. Adorable chinchilla. Problem. Lore.
Thanks for listening. Please consider supporting Dice Company on Patreon, where for the price of a cup of coffee you get access to a whole other show, Extra Roll, as well as an ad-free listening experience. The Dice Company Discord server, along with our socials, can be found on our Linktree in the show notes. If you enjoyed this chapter, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to recommend us to your friends. If you didn't like it, recommend us to your enemies. And we'll see you next time on Dice Company.